For the best prices and service on Pokemon TCG singles and products, check out ccgcastle.com and use promo code Evolutionaries-5 for 5% off your next order.
What's up, Pokemon fans? I'm Professor K for the Pokemon Evolutionaries, and welcome back to another Deck Tech Thursday, where we go over decks mostly, well, pretty much at this point, exclusively from the standard formats in today's metagame. Now, today is the first deck profile we're going to do with Forbidden Light, and with that, we're bringing some changes to the channel. Some of you guys may or may not like this bit of news, but it's something that we decided to do about a week or two ago. What we're going to do from now on is Deck Tech Thursday and Battle Frontier Friday are changing slightly. Deck Tech Thursday will remain doing a deck profile by me first, followed by N. And then instead of doing Battle Frontier the next day, we're actually going to put it towards the next week. What we're finding is that we're getting product releases that come out, and they usually come out the same week as Battle Frontier Friday, and it ends up being kind of a jumbled mess as far as putting things up on time. So what we're going to do instead is have it be Deck Tech Thursday this week, Deck Tech Thursday next week, and then the following week, no Deck Tech, but Battle Frontier Friday will start up. And then the following week, we'll go back to Deck Tech. So it's essentially going to become like a 3-week process where it goes deck, battle, deck, battle on a weekly basis. That way it frees up an extra day just in case something new comes out, and it gives us an opportunity to put something else into the week that isn't competitive content. Now, some of you guys will be happy by that. Some of you guys may be a little bit upset, but ultimately it's what's best for us, because I find that we're just cramming a lot of decks together and not really understanding them as well as we should beforehand. So with that being said, I feel like this will give you guys a better quality deck profile, a better quality battle, and also alleviate a little bit of stress on us as well as trying to make sure we have enough content to put out for you guys. So with that being said, let's get started. Our very first deck tech for Forbidden Light is going to be based upon Ultra Necrozma. This guy right here, super great card, very, very powerful. It does have a couple of weaknesses to it, but overall, it has some pretty good matchups across the board. So Ultra Necrozma GX has 190 HP, of course, it is an Ultra Beast, and it has some powerful attacks. Basic Pokemon, Photon Geyser is the one you're focusing on. Does 20 damage, and when you discard all basic Psychic Energy from this Pokemon, the attack does 80 more damage for each card discarded in this way. So really, theoretically, all you have to have on this is 2 Psychic Energy and 1 Metal, right? Discard those 2, that's 160 plus 20 is 180 plus Choice Band is 210. That's pretty much knocking out the majority of the metagame right now. 210. That's pretty darn good if you ask me. Only having to discard 2 Psychic Energy in that fashion, that's fantastic. It does also have a GX attack, Sky Scorching Light GX. You can use this attack only if the total of both players' remaining prize cards is 6 or less. You put 6 damage counters on all of your opponent's Pokemon. Probably not going to be using that very much. Mostly going to be using it for Photon Geyser. It's such a great attack. It really is. So Ultra Necrozma is going to be the main attacker of the deck, and you are going to run 3 of them. You may be wondering, why do you have a full art and 2 regulars? Well, the fact of the matter is that this card is so hard to pull that this is my only extra one. These 2 are from my collection binder. I didn't even pull enough to give me a deck profile. I'm borrowing my entire collection minus the Rainbow Rare. If I were to have 4 in this deck, I would have to run the Rainbow Rare. That's how ridiculously hard Ultra Necrozma GX is to pull. So I'm looking for 2 more of these, but yeah, we'll see. For now anyways, we can build the deck. That's the important thing. So there you go. 3 copies of Ultra Necrozma GX, your main attacker for this deck. It's got some pretty powerful support behind it as well. There was another couple of cards introduced in the set that really helped this along, and that is going to be the Malamar line. But first, of course, we're going to need 4 copies of the Inkay from Forbidden Light. 60 HP, definitely could be a little bit better in that department. I would like to see 70 HP, but hopefully they don't stay Inkays for very long. It's got 1 attack, Hypnosis, put your opponent's active Pokemon to sleep. Not very good, but if you're ever stuck in a situation where you have to use an Inkay, you're in trouble to begin with. So 4 copies of that, and we have 3 copies of Malamar, also of course from Forbidden Light. This Malamar has got a great ability. It says here, Psychic Recharge. Hard to see that red lettering on the purple text there, but once during your turn before you attack, you may attach a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. How good is that? All you gotta do is get your Ultra Necrozma back onto the bench, and you can power it back up. If you have 2 Malamar in play, you can recharge 2 Psychic Energy to it, and basically just start swinging again. So 3 copies of Malamar, you're really only never gonna need more than 2 of these on the bench. And if there's 1 prize, that's fine. That's the reason there's only 3. I think 4 is a little bit of overkill. Another way to get back energy here, this is another interesting card to be playing in this deck, is 1 copy of Lunala Prism Star. Full Moon Star for a single Psychic Energy says, for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play, attach a Psychic Energy card from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. So in between turns, if you can't find a way to retreat Ultra Necrozma, power it up, and put it back into the active, then you can do it like this. You can just go into Lunala and power up even more out of your discard pile, attaching them to more Ultra Necrozma on the bench. So Lunala Prism Star is really good in that aspect. It does have a second attack, Psy Storm, 20 damage, times the amount of energy attached to all Pokemon. Not a bad attack, but putting 4 energy on 160 HP Pokemon, probably not the best idea. All right, we also have 1 copy of Mew from Fates Collide, Memories of Dawn. Of course, can use any attack on your side of the field on of your basic Pokemon on your side of the field. It's just really, really good. It acts as another Ultra Necrozma, and it can act as just about, well, anything really. I mean, you got Lunala, you got Ultra Necrozma, and you also have a couple of other Pokemon here that we're going to be getting into in a second, but it's a 1 prize attacker with free retreat. So it's really good for that anyways. And we have 2 copies of this card as well. Dawnwings Necrozma GX. So Invasion is going to be the ability that's going to help you get your Ultra Necrozma out of the active and back into the active in the same turn, because Invasion, once during your turn before you attack, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch it with your active. I almost said opponent's active, don't know why. Switch it with your active. So if you got Ultra Necrozma in the active and you've got a Dawnwings on the bench, Invasion, do what you need to do with Malamar or whatever else, and then Floatstone, retreat it back into Ultra Necrozma, swing again. There's 2 of these in there. Also, this is a pretty good attacker as well. Not much can stop Dawnwings Necrozma once it's powered up. Dark Flash does 120 damage, not affected by resistance, but that Moon's Eclipse GX, 180 damage. You can only attack if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent. Prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. You're forcing them to play Guzma to get around this, and chances are they're going to be wanting to play a different supporter anyways. Not all the time, but most of the time, they're going to want to play something other than Guzma to get them out of that situation. If you have them stuck and they can't do anything to your active, to this Dawnwings that next turn, and they can't get around it, you're in a really good spot. So Moon's Eclipse GX, very, very good attack. And this stuff just wrecks Buzzwole. It just wrecks Buzzwole. Obviously, Ultra Necrozma isn't Psychic type, so you can't really do much about that. But this and this, just, it's ridiculous. I faced a full-on Dawnwings Necrozma deck, and you can't win. It's so hard. Like, it's not that you can't win. It's like an 80-20, 70-30 kind of thing. It's just ridiculous. But Dawnwings Necrozma, great support Pokemon in this deck, and also a good attacker as well, especially that GX deck. For the last 2 Pokemon, we've got 2 copies of Tapu Lele for Wonder Tag. When you put it down, obviously you get a supporter out of your deck, put it in your hand, and we can actually make use out of Tapu Cure GX in a pinch. If you don't use Moon's Eclipse GX, or of course your Sky Scorching Light GX, you have access to Tapu Cure. You got a couple of Pokemon that are damaged up on the bench. You can heal them for 1 Psychic Energy, so Tapu Lele can pull its weight in this deck. For every aspect of it, the ability, the attack, energy drive is still pretty decent, and Tapu Cure GX, also a good attack. All right, that's it for the Pokemon lineup. Let's go to supporters. We got 3 copies of Professor Sycamore. Discard your hand, draw 7. Still a good draw supporter, even though it's not played quite as much. But this deck wants to discard. We want to get energy in the discard pile for Malamar to feed it out. We want Lunala to have feeding out of the discard pile as well. So Sycamore's not so bad. We have 3 copies of Cynthia. Shuffle your hand in your deck, draw 6 cards. This will be the replacement, no doubt. Cynthia's a fantastic card. So there's that. While we still have it in the format, we still play 2 copies of N for disruption purposes mostly, but at the same time, it also can help us early game get into stuff and make your opponent get rid of stuff that maybe they don't want to and put it back into their deck. You can just mess with them that way. If you're behind in the game, it definitely becomes a good tool as well because you can end down to 1 and really force your opponent to have a hard time, especially if you Moon's Eclipse right after you end them to 1. They're going to have the Guzma in hand or they're in some big trouble. So, there's that. Speaking of Guzma, we run 3 copies in this deck. Switch your opponent's active with one of their benched. So, there's that. And then, of course, you're going to switch your active with one of your benched. This can play really well into hand if you don't have a way to get your Dawn Wings out of the active. If you decide to Invasion, you have no Float Stone, or if you just don't have Dawn Wings at all, you can Guzma your Ultra Necrozma out of the active into something else like the Mew, and then free retreat back in, or hard retreat if you have to, off of like an Inkay or a Malamar or a Lele or something like that. Lunala obviously can't do that. It's got a retreat cost of 3. Last supporter, this one's not necessary, but I still like the option of having 1 Bridget in the deck to search for 3 basic Pokemon that are not Pokemon EX. Obviously, there's no Pokemon EX in this deck, so you can still search for 3. You can search yourself out an early couple of Inkays and an Ultra Necrozma, or anything really. I mean, you could go Ultra Necrozma, Inkay, Lunala, or Mew, or Dawn Wings. Everything in here is basic except for the Malamars, so everything is pretty searchable through Bridget in the beginning of the game, depending on what you start with. I still like having it there as an option. That's just me. We have 4 copies of Mysterious Treasure. Discard a card from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a Psychic or Dragon Pokemon. Reveal it, put it into your hand. This is Ultra Ball, but better. This entire deck is searchable with Mysterious Treasure. You are nothing but Psychics and Dragon. Why would you not play 4 of this card? I mean, yeah, we want to discard, but sometimes you don't want to discard 2 cards. Sometimes you just want to discard that 1 energy into the discard pile so that you can bring it back later with Malamar. So Mysterious Treasure is fantastic in this deck for that reason. Searchable, everything. Everything is searchable for 1 card. It's fantastic. Next up, we got 3 copies of Beast Ring. Now, I'm not exactly sure how I feel about this card just yet. In the right situation, it's fantastic because you can play more than 1 of them when your opponent's at 3 or 4 prize cards. So if you have them all in your hand, it's broken. 150% broken. But you gotta have it in your hand at the right time, and sometimes that's a problem. That's why I don't run 4, but that's also why I don't run 2. 2, you'll never see it at all. 4, you'll see it too often and you'll end up getting rid of it. I feel like 3 is probably going to be the best number for this deck. In a Zoroark-based deck, I think 4 absolutely, because you can trade into them easily. But this deck, I think 3 will work. So you search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, attach them to one of your Ultra Beasts, then shuffle your deck. So in this deck, you're going to be attaching things to Dawn Wings and to Ultra Necrozma. In any case, it's good. You get your opponent down to 3 or 4, you'll always have at least 1 turn where you can use a Beast Ring. And if you have it in hand, it works out great. If you don't, well, you miss out on an opportunity. But powering these 2 up is a big deal. You really put yourself in an advantage if you're able to play Beast Ring, especially if you can play more than 1 in that turn. It's crazy good. But again, I'm just trying this for now. It seems to be okay, but it has its ups and downs. This deck is very, very reliant on abilities, as you may have noticed. Malamar is your energy acceleration. Invasion is your way of retreat. Lele for supporters. And then Mew, its whole attacking purpose is based on its ability. So Garb is a problem. That's why we run 3 copies of Field Blower to get rid of Pokemon Tool cards and Stadium cards in play. Any 2 of them in any combination. So I feel like 3 is probably the number you're going to want to play. So you can probably get away with 2. But I don't really feel comfortable with that. I'd rather have 3, just in case I really, really need it. All right, so we run 4 copies of Mysterious Treasure, so this is one of the few exceptions of the time where you only really need 2 Ultra Ball. Discard 2 cards from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck. You could probably put Bridget away for a 3rd Ultra Ball if you really wanted to, but I just don't see the necessity behind it. You know, I know Ultra Ball will thin out your deck for you, which is always a good thing, but I don't know, I just feel like it's an extra card and it's not really what you necessarily want to have. So I think 2 Ultra Balls is enough, but you guys can play around with it, see what you think. So another thing that I put in this deck that I don't know why more people aren't doing, because a lot of times I'll find myself in a situation where I'll be like, I can take game or big knockout right now. I just don't have the energy in hand. I play 2 copies of Professor's Letter. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, put them in your hand, shuffle your deck afterward. Sometimes getting that metal energy or that beast energy is a problem because you have to have one that's not psychic on here. Beast energy, of course, counts as any type of energy as long as it's attached to an Ultra Beast. So you have 4 outs to metal energy. If you don't hit it quickly, you're gonna have a problem because you need to start attacking fast with this deck. And I feel like the 2 copies of Professor's Letter increase those odds. And I don't really see anything else in this deck that I feel like needs a numbers boost. Maybe one more Sycamore. You could probably do the Bridget for that if you wanted to. But other than that, I just don't see it. So I've got 2 copies of Professor's Letter to help increase that consistency. For tool cards, I've got 3 copies of Choice Band. The attacks of this Pokemon, this card is attached to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active GX or EX Pokemon. So this is a big one, obviously. Like I told you the scenario before, having 2 Psychic Energy attached to Ultra Necrozma gives you 180 damage, 210 with a Choice Band. It just makes sense to hit those numbers well. We have 2 copies of Floatstone. This is mostly just going to be for your Dawnwings Necrozma to Invasion and Retreat for free. In a situation where you're stuck, you could attach it to something else. You could attach it to your Ultra Necrozma, you could attach it to your Lunala. I don't recommend attaching it to anything else. I'd rather just have it on the Dawnwings Necrozma or the Ultra Necrozma unless you have a seriously big problem. For this card, we've got 1, of course, because it's a Prism. Beast Energy provides colorless energy, but while this card is attached to an Ultra Beast, it provides every type of energy, but only provides 1 energy at a time. The attacks of your Ultra Beast, this card is attached to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Yeah, so remember that 210 I was talking about? If this is attached, it can actually do 240. That's crazy. Moon's Eclipse can do 210 up to 240 with a Choice Band. Yeah. Could also do 150 or 180 with Dark Flash. Beast Energy is insane. It really is. Yeah, you can only play 1 in the deck, but it's insane. All right, the rest of the energy counts. We have 3, as I mentioned before, copies of Metal Energy. So 4 outs to the potential Metal Energy that you need to play in order to activate Photon Geyser. And for Psychic Energy, we have 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There it is. There's your deck lineup. This is what I've been playing around with a lot on PTCGO, especially on stream, and I like it. So at least for now, I don't have any recommended changes. Just basically everything from here is going to be based off of your own playstyle, your own preference. Like I said, you don't need the Bridget. It's there because I like the Bridget. You don't need the Professor's Letter, but I really like the Professor's Letter. So everything else, though, I feel like you probably shouldn't touch too much. You might be able to put in another Mew. 2 Mew is not a bad idea, but otherwise, I like it as is for now. So we're going to try it out and play it up against whatever N decides to build, which will be next Thursday when he profiles his deck. And remember, the day after that will not be Battle Frontier Friday. It will be the following Friday for Battle Frontier Friday. Just splitting things up a little bit better and a little bit more beneficial for us. But anyways, guys, that is the deck. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe for more TCG content. Let us know what you think of this particular build. I personally really like it, but if you guys have any changes that you think have to be made, feel free to comment in the section down below. Give people more advice. Definitely get the conversation going. By no means is any one deck build correct. I don't think that there's any superior build. It's all based on the way that you play and what you like to build. So always remember that, guys, when you go to criticize decks. A lot of times it's based on the player himself or herself when they build a deck, more so than you have to build a deck this way. So there's a lot of really great consistency cards in here, but there's always room for changes. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care and have a great day.